Day 2 sees two of the tournament's most dangerous teams in terms of don't count them out until at your own peril, and that's Pakistan and the West Indies. The Windies campaign is set to kick off today, which gives us a special amount of pleasure as we build up to the second match of the Cricket World Cup 2019 on ESPN Cricket for Matchday UK 2019. I am Ronald Kapoor. Darren Ganga's going to be representing the hopes of, or the renewed hopes of the Caribbean, and might I say you are quietly confident ahead of the start of the West Indies campaign, Darren?
Indeed. Representing their hopes from afar, I would say. But yes, I think they have a slight advantage over Pakistan. Two teams of similar form, you would say. The West Indies, I think, will need the leadership of Jason Holder to get them over the line, and maybe having more persons contributing towards the decision-making in the team. Their six-hitting ability and power striking is something that they will take, I would say, into this game, and that will be advantageous for the West Indies against Pakistan.
We will talk in detail of the importance of power hitting, especially after the way England have set the ball rolling yesterday at the Oval. There's also a question of the two leaders in these two teams. But Karthik, everyone knows, India know far too well, more than others, that never count Pakistan out, no matter what sort of form they've been in, and they've not been in great form, we know that.
Yeah, never. At least in the World Cup, India has had the wood over Pakistan for a long time, and long may it continue. But given the fact that even after so many years of having played one of the most talked about rivalries, I think India very well know how good Pakistan can be on any given day. And again, they're such a volatile side, Ronak. You never know which side is going to turn up, which side of the bed they get up from collectively. And then you don't know what sort of Pakistan you're going to get. They've been on the receiving end for quite a while, and hopefully that doesn't dent the way they come out and play in this World Cup, because 10 losses on the bounce, it can actually just punch you in your face. And I think hopefully it's a different Pakistan today with their first game against a side, as Darren mentioned, they can literally blow you out. Possibly the best power hitting team in this entire World Cup competition.
Okay, now Misbah-ul-Haq has been part of many of those turnaround scripts, and I'm delighted to welcome him as well. Misbah, you were very critical, and rightly so, of all the things that Pakistan have not got right ahead of this World Cup, but it takes one game. If they can put in a performance today, all that recent form almost goes out of the window. Are you still hopeful, in spite of all that's gone wrong, that we may see a different Pakistan in an ICC event? Because that's happened before. I want to come back to Misbah's in a trance at the moment, trying to get his thoughts from the higher authorities and see whether he can get a story around Pakistan that can give a nation some more hope. But let's talk a little bit about the West Indies, Darren. And again, there seems to be so much more that's sorted off the field. It looks like a dressing room that's enjoying themselves, almost the same flavors that you had to the T20 success. Can they replicate it in a 50-over tournament after very long?
They can. As they always say, winning is a habit, and this team has been short of winning one-day matches since the last World Cup. Their win percentage just about 28%. When you compare that with the opposition today, Pakistan, they have achieved about 52%. So a more successful team, you would say. But in recent form, the last 5 matches, the Windies would have won 2 out of the 5. Pakistan would have lost all 5. So I think that is confidence for a team going into a World Cup. The second thing I want to speak about is nearly every 7 overs, the West Indies batsmen, they hit sixes. And that is something that an opposition team must take into account. How do you bowl against the likes of Chris Gayle, Shimron Hetmyer, Andre Russell? That is something that will be in that meeting of the opposition team. How will they counter that? The only way they can counter that is by taking early wickets and putting pressure on this West Indies batting lineup. Yeah,
we have seen Sarfraz Ahmed have his own unique take about the almost underplaying the importance of power hitting. So it's a unique contrast. The West Indies have shown what they're capable of in that warm-up game against New Zealand, in the series against England earlier this year. Pakistan seem to want to play their own sort of game. Anyway, it should make for a clash of slightly contrasting cultures. And Melinda Farrell is our Lieutenant-in-Chief in Nottingham. And I think she's got quite a few things to tell us. And at the outset, I don't see any sum there, Mel. So tell me what you've got for us.
Well, yeah, actually, I'll tell you what, an hour ago, it was absolutely glorious here and not a cloud in the sky. But as often happens here, it's now completely overcast. And if it's anything like yesterday, that will continue throughout the day. Clouds coming and going, all sorts. I saw Wahab at Riaz yesterday looking up, and I said, what do you reckon, Wahab? He says, could swing, could swing. Don't know if it will for too long. Building up nicely here at the ground. Lots of fans from both sides. I'm seeing lots of Pakistan wigs, the Pakistan fun buses here, lots of West Indies gear as well. I'd just like to say there is something here for the neutrals, a nice little Robin Hood hat for everyone else. So everything is just such a party atmosphere already, everyone embracing that. A few interesting people here talking to both teams. Johan Blake has been around yesterday and today, the champion Jamaican runner, talking to the West Indies, maybe getting them to work on their running between the wickets. And Wasim Akram has been spotted this morning having a word with some of the Pakistan bowlers, so perhaps giving them some tips. A few interesting words being thrown around for Pakistan. I heard you talking there about the early wickets, and Safraz Ahmad talked about that in the press conference yesterday, basically saying there's no point in just trying to contain. They know that to win this game and other games in this World Cup, they're going to have to take wickets. For the West Indies, lots of talk about...
Come back to Mel Farrell as we re-establish a link with what looks like now slightly overcast conditions. And I would be very curious to know if Johan Blake was speaking to Chris Gayle about running. And I want to know how that conversation went. It would have been a very short conversation.
Very, very short indeed.
Yeah.
Chris would have probably asked him about something with regard to sprinting.
I've got you back, Mel. We're just discussing what a short conversation would have been between Johan Blake and Chris Gayle if that had to be Johan's choice of who to advise on how to run. Now, before you leave us, I'm sure you didn't bring that Robin Hood cap just as a prop. So put it on and let it be your thinking hat for you to give me one final word before we come back to you later on in the day.
The things I do for you, Ranak, I mean, I'm probably going to regret this, and no doubt I'll have bad hat hair for a day. But as we said before, I think it's going to be the sort of day here with the short boundaries. The pitch looks like a belter. It'll be a day when basically I think the bowlers are going to get robbed by the batsmen.
Oh, that's a fine Robin Hood reference. Go steal from those bowlers and those IPL millionaires in that West Indian camp and give it to us, Mel. Give it to us, the poor sitting here in our studios, in the comforts of our studios. Any relative comforts. Melinda Farrell of ESPN Cricket Info. We'll get plenty more from Mel as this game goes on at Trent Bridge. Let's hope it's an uninterrupted game. I don't like gloomy skies and first thing on the morning of a cricket match in England. But what's happening in the aftermath of yesterday, in the build-up of today, in the World Cup? Let's move to the social corner as I have a quick recap of it all. Anubhav's here. Anubhav, good to have you. And what have you got for us in the social corner?
A lot's brewing up, Ronak. We've got a bunch of tweets as well as Instagram posts lined up for you, and we'll have them show up on the screen in just a few seconds. A lot of tweets from cricketing legends about yesterday's game between England and South Africa, as well as those concerning today's encounter between Pakistan and the West Indies. So here we have them. To kick things off, we've got the Master Blaster Sachin Tendulkar, who made his debut in the commentary box yesterday during the match between England and South Africa. Now, he was given company by his former India teammates in Virender Sehwag and Saurav Ganguly. What a talismanic trio that is, what an iconic image. And the three of them who shared the dressing room for Team India for multiple years, now sharing the commentary box together.
I like, though, that Sachin's the only one who's kept his original hair. Right? Karthik, touchy topic? No? Not getting into it? Very well, let's move on. Yeah, carry on, Anubhav. But yeah, great picture. And then and now, Sehwag's got plenty of time for those throwbacks. What else have you got for us?
So we're now going to be shifting our focus and attention to the West Indies camp. We have the West Indian captain. I beg your pardon.
We'll come to that. Before that, this is from yesterday, I think. Yeah, go on. This is not
from yesterday. This is Jofra Archer back in 2013 with a blast from the past. This is 17-year-old Jofra Archer in 2013, as I said, who tweeted, "All batsmen buy 2 helmets because when we meet, they will be in use."
Well, this is a serious amount of confidence, isn't it? He hit Hashim Amla yesterday and Faf du Plessis saying that dented the flow.
Was he talking about West Indian players? Because he was there initially, wasn't he?
He was just saying all batsmen. there were those fast bowlers that just hated batsmen, no matter where they came
He's from Barbados, and they've got a rich legacy in terms of genuine fast bowlers who've gone on to play for the West Indies. Yesterday, he showed exactly what his intentions were.
So the world was warned. Don't blame Jofra Archer, and we're very happy to know that Hashim Amla is fine. So
that also tells
there's
you a
no
great
meaning
story
like-
that he comes from a time where once you get hit on the helmet, you're supposed to change the helmet. That's why he's asked for 2 helmets.
Very good, Karthik. That's the sort of analysis I'm looking for from you. Well done. Yes, carry on, Anubhav.
But definitely full marks to Jofra Archer for his astute foresight. Next up, we've got Jason Holder, the West Indies captain, who definitely seems raring to go. He says, it's been a long wait. This was what he tweeted yesterday. It's been a long wait, but tomorrow we get on the way. So raring to go, as I said. Now, he's given company by his West Indian teammate, Shea Hope, who's clearly someone who's living the dream, a youngster living the dream, motivation for all of us to pursue our dreams. He says, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, am I really here in the World Cup? So West Indies, of course, will be relying on him. And Darren, you know both of them, both Shea Hope as well as Jason Holder. The West Indies, guessing, pinning their hopes on Shea Hope?
Yeah, I think the pun is real because he's got the highest average in ODI cricket for the West Indies. And as a young player, that's good 6 ODI centuries, a definite asset in this West Indies side.
All right, that's Shea Hope and the hopes of the West Indies. Anyway, we've had enough of these hope puns for the last few years. Let's go on. Anubhav, what else have we got?
So next up, we've got Pakistani left-arm pacer Junaid Khan, who of course has been sidelined for the tournament, tweeting from the sidelines. Good luck, Team Pakistan. Hopefully we can start off with a win against the West Indies.
Now, you know, this isn't just the only story, because that's the rest of the story, isn't it? There we have it. There we have it. Okay, go on. Read that.
I don't want to say anything. Truth is bitter, or in Hindi, sach kadwa hota hai.
Yeah, that's what he did when he was sidelined, Junaid Khan. He played the series against England in the warm-up, in the build-up to this World Cup. And then when he wasn't selected, a bit of duct tape and a photograph taken. I love these symbolic things that these cricketers who are not being picked are doing. Anyway, let's leave it out. But Anubhav, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure there's plenty more that you'll give us as this tournament goes on.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm just saying it would have been easier to that would have been a lot of work, right? Just putting that around and then duct tape and then the picture. Might have been easy to just bowl better. Anyway, it's time for the toss. It's time for the pitch report for viewers in the Caribbean. Michael Holding and Melanie Jones have you covered. And viewers on ESPN Cricket Info, stay right with us. I wonder what these sort of conditions might do. Would they change what the captains would like to do, Darren? Is chasing going to continue to be the norm? Thoughts?
Yeah, if you look at this venue, the average first innings score, it's 361, very high. Yeah. So it's a good batting venue. Most teams wouldn't be too bothered about batting first or chasing, but as you mentioned, overcast conditions, a team might be more inclined to bowling first, trying to make use of the conditions, get early wickets, and that will be crucial. In this encounter, both West Indies and Pakistan will be looking to dent the opposition and try to take the advantage early in this contest.
And amongst all the grounds in the UK, Karthik, Trent Bridge is supposed to be this hub for batting. Not that the others aren't, but this is the sort of ground where 360, 370 is genuinely par.
It has become in the recent past or in the few years, because it was one place where every bowler wanted to be. If you spoke about transfers like in football, every year there were transfers and the fast bowlers wanted to move to Nottinghamshire because that was called the swinging ground. It used to swing a lot. But I think it's changed. All these relayed outfields have just taken everything out of it. And I think, was it the same venue where 481 was scored? So it's become one of those places where from a swinging ground, it's actually the ball swinging everywhere off the bat. So it's a massive turnaround, and it's become one of the highest scoring grounds. It's become one of the toughest places to bowl. It's just turned a corner from being the easiest place to bowl for a seamer. It's become the toughest place to bowl for a seamer, and it's quite evident in the way the stats are also lopsided. I think the spinners have done slightly better there. It's just become a tough place to bowl.
All right. Do these sort of conditions tend to mess around with your calculations and who to play? We'll find out. And that pitch at Trent Bridge, Michael Holding asking the groundsman, a little bit of grass. Will there be factors that will play in the captain's mind before he makes a decision at the toss? That toss is coming up on the other side of the break. So stay with us on ESPN Cricket Info Matchday UK 2019.
B is for Buckner. The West Indies haven't made it to any World Cup final since 1983, but there was a Jamaican standing in all finals in the decades of the 90s and the double O's. Steve Buckner got into the elite panel of umpires the day it was made, and even though a few Indians might feel he needed an eye checkup thanks to his poor calls in Australia in 2004, he did get quite a many decisions right. Old Stevie B, who was nicknamed Slow Death for his manner of raising his finger, officiated in 44 World Cup matches, the last of which was the controversial final of 2007. It was that fateful evening in Barbados when Sri Lanka were made to bat in rapidly fading light, leading to a farce and Buckner and his colleagues being banned from standing in the next ICC event, the inaugural T20 World Cup. After Dickie Bird and David Shepherd, he was quite the face of big World Cup games. But after 2007, one could say the buck stopped there.
Welcome back to ESPN Cricket for Matchday UK 2019. We are focusing on the first game for Pakistan and the West Indies. It's time for the all-important toss. Who's going to win it and who's going to chase first? Let's find out as we go to Trent Bridge. And viewers on ESPN Cricket, stay right with us. We'll continue chatting about this game. First, let's hear a little more about Michael Holding, who's not quite got the same opinions on West Indies cricket as he did when he played. But let's hear from Mikey anyway.
I just said, both mercurial teams. They can be very, very hot one day and cold the next. I watched again the West Indies down in Bristol in their warm-up games. I can't see it, to be honest, Alexis. I was very impressed with some of the bowling that I saw. The batting, I think the West Indies batting can match almost any team in this tournament. It's going to be so important that the batting comes off to take some of the pressure off the bowling. And if people like Chris Gayle and Hope and Hetmeyer and those guys get going, they certainly can put enough runs on the board. I would not rule them out beating Pakistan, but as we know, Pakistan, they can be a very, very good team at times. And the Pakistan bowling can be mercurial as well. You know, Mohammad Amir, there was doubt about him actually coming into the Pakistan squad. If he plays, he can be a big threat. He lost a little bit of that swing after he was out of the game for quite some time, but he's slowly coming back with that left arm swinging back into the right-hander, and he can be a very dangerous bowler. I think he will start his innings slowly. We have seen that. That's that adapting that you are talking about. It's not that he goes through his entire innings slowly. Even down in that warm-up game in Bristol, he started off circumspectly looking at the bowling because he's no longer 25 years old. He's no longer as sharp as he used to be. And I think he has to do that. Go out, give himself a bit of time to see what the pitch is doing, what the bowlers are doing, and then explode. That is Chris Gayle. When he explodes, he really makes up for the time that he might have lost early in his innings. And I expect to see him doing that throughout this World Cup. And I hope he does that because that's the best way he's going to be effective and help this West Indies team. At the same time, though, Alexis, this West Indies team is not going to panic if Chris Gayle gets out cheaply.
All right, Michael Holding with thoughts on both these teams. As he rightly points out, mercurial teams. You don't exactly know what to expect. They actually left us with egg on our face at times, the West Indies and Pakistan. The West Indies more in T20 cricket. Pakistan at any point can just show up and decide that they want to be a different team in ICC events. India know all too well. So we'll see how much the toss plays into the first game and the captain's calculations at Trent Bridge. Confirmation then that it is Jason Holder's West Indies side that have won their first toss, and we're not surprised that they've decided to have a bowl first. Let's get quick reactions on Darren Ganga first. That toss works well into your calculations?
Yep, advantages for the West Indies. They will try to exploit the conditions at hand. Sheldon Cottrell is usually one that will swing the ball. O'Shane Thomas as well, both players in this Windies 11. So I think the West Indies will be backing themselves to restricting Pakistan. If they can do so for a total under 300, I think they will have a good chance of winning this first match.
All right, let's try and get our link established with Misbah ul Haq, who I think is back with us. Misbah, we've got confirmation of the toss. Sarfaraz saying he also would have liked to bowl first, but it is going to be Pakistan batting. Let's get quick thoughts from you. We'll just come back. Misbah still trying to get a link re-established with us. Karthik, Sarfaraz saying he would have wanted to bat. Didn't turn out to be the worst thing for Owen Morgan yesterday.
Look, it's again a condition-based thing, isn't it? You want to have a look and you want to put a brave front, because at the end of the day, only one man can win the toss, and you prepare yourself for the worst-case scenario, which is exactly opposite of what you want to do first up. And again, look, it's a question of surviving. We know that this new kookaburra and the new white kookaburra doesn't swing for too long unless and until it's such a, or the conditions are so lopsided against the batsman that it does a lot for a long time. And that's one of the reasons why he said what he said in terms of surviving a few overs. At the end of the day, it's about Pakistan. Pakistan have got runs, possibly the maximum number of hundreds in the recent past, but they've come at a very slow rate, and the way they go about it. And we've been talking about the kind of tempo which other teams have set. Teams like England, teams like West Indies, if they go at the rate of knots, then Pakistan need to put up a sizable total, especially on this ground.
Okay, confirmation of the playing 11 for the West Indies, and Jason Holder confirming that he's got two injured players in the form of Evan Lewis and Shannon Gabriel, so that makes the selection maybe that much easier. But he's left out Kemar Roach just the same, and Fabian Allen. So let's get word from Darren Ganga. How does that team shape up? Is that what we see? Shea Hope opening with Chris Gale and the rest of the team to follow?
Yeah, that will be the option that the West Indies will choose. I felt that Evan Lewis would have been in this side if he was fit. Unfortunate for him missing out in this very first game. What it has done, it's forced Floyd Reefer and Jason Holder to play Carlos Brathwaite, the all-rounder, who's underproduced with the bat in one-day cricket. Yes, his bowling is coming along, but I think his contribution with the bat will be a welcome one if he gets his form right. This bowling attack, pretty much as expected. O'Shane Thomas, he's never played against Pakistan, and there's a newness about him bowling against the Pakistanis. He is able to swing the ball. We spoke about pace with Jofra Archer. Yep. O'Shane Thomas can bring this sort of asset to the West Indies team. So good side in the circumstances. As expected, that top five is the batting lineup that has to produce the runs to chase the target set by Pakistan.
Is that the indication of the pecking order for the fast bowlers, though? Because when I look at it from as an outsider, I think Kemar Roach and Shannon Gabriel are your two best test bowlers, but they don't walk in to the ODI 11 ahead of O'Shane Thomas and Sheldon Cottrell?
Yeah, it depends on what you're going for. When you look at Kemar Roach's record against Pakistan, not a solid record. I think he's played 10 matches and only 10 ODI wickets. You look at O'Shane Thomas, he's played 9 one-day matches and he's got 15 wickets. And with pace, youthfulness, a newness as well, brings a little bit of mystery to this bowling lineup. So I would go with him ahead of Kemar Roach. Maybe against a different opposition, you may opt for Kemar Roach, but it's a good contingency to have in your squad going into a World Cup.
Yeah, and we saw what O'Shane Thomas can do when he came to India, even on pitches that didn't quite assist. Did trouble India's top order. Good in the IPL too when he had a few games towards the end for Rajasthan. Let's confirm Pakistan's playing 11 for you. And Karthik, they announced a pre-game 12 and then decided to trim that to the 11. And I thought they'd have to pick between the two spin bowling all-rounders in Hafiz and Imad Wasim. As it turns out, they both will get a game. So you're going to have, that's the look of the team. The top three pick themselves, Pakar Zaman, Imam and Babar. You've then possibly got Haris Sohail 4, Sarfaraz 5, Hafiz 6, Imad 7, Shadab Khan, and it's a straight return to Wahab Riaz and Mohammad Amir, even though they were left out of the previous series. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it is interesting because of the fact that in my head, I was thinking Asif Ali instead of Haris Sohail.
Yes.
And the fact that Mohammad Amir was not picked and the fact that Shaheen Afridi has showcased himself to be really good on tough surfaces, I thought he would get a gig ahead of Mohammad Amir. Wahab Riaz was obviously going to get picked because of the fact that the chief selector had picked him, brought him in. Having seen the series against England, you know that somebody like Wahab Riaz and his reverse swing and his pace could be handy. I'm glad that they've gone with both the spinners in terms of you've got lots of left-handers. You've got Nicholas Pooran, Gale. They wouldn't have known whether Evan Lewis was playing or not. So Darren Bravo. So you needed an off-spinner, whether it was Mohammad Hafiz, and that's what they have. Shoaib Malik could bowl, but he doesn't bowl that much. Imad Wasim obviously needs to come good because he's been really good, and off late his form has dipped a bit as well. So it'll be interesting how they go. But I was actually keen that Asif Ali plays ahead of Haris Sohail.
In some ways, like Misbah said at the preview to Pakistan's tournament, Darren, they don't know who their best 11 is. And in that case, would it be advisable to just play everyone, all the experience? I thought maybe Shoaib Malik could have got a game as well, but they left him out. But they just want to play the most experienced slot.
Yeah, I think that's an option you can choose. When you look at Pakistan and what they've achieved against the West Indies in the past, you would see Baba Azam right up there, 4 centuries on average, over 100 against this West Indies side. And the other 2 experienced players in that of Mohammad Hafiz and Shoaib Malik, they have done well against the West Indies. They've even played in the Caribbean Premier League. So they have the experience of playing against the West Indian bowlers. And you would want to think in your first match, you would go with your experience. But they've opted for, variety in their bowling, the all-rounders, persons who could contribute with bat and ball. So maybe Safraz just giving himself options.
Yeah, Shoaib hasn't done enough off late, to be very honest. He's been there for a while now. And as somebody who's so experienced, they put him too late. And then even with so I'm happy with what they've picked. The only thing is that Shaheen Afridi, does he feel bad that he's been left out? Does Asif Ali feel bad that he's been left out? Those are the only 2 things which I would think of.
Very well. Well, there are different feelings, conflicting emotions for Pakistan fans and former players. Among them is Mushtaq Ahmed. The last time there was a World Cup in England, Mushi was part of a very successful team that nearly went all the way. Let's hear from him now ahead of this first game.
देखिए सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात है जो टीम भी इस वर्ल्ड कप में जो पिच्छे हैं विकेट्स हैं वो बहुत फ्लैट हैं तो फ्लैट्स विकेट्स के ऊपर आपको 5 जेन्युइन बॉलरों के साथ जाना पड़ेगा आपने अपने जेन्युइन बॉलर खिलाने जो विकेट टेकिंग बॉलर्स होते हैं क्योंकि अगर आप 300 प्लस रन्स नहीं रोक सकते तो फिर आपको विकेटें लेनी पड़ेंगी जैसे पाकिस्तान में जो आखिरी मैच में 2 विकेटें एकदम ली हैं शोएब मलिक ने तो ऐसे लगता है पाकिस्तान जीत जाएगा विकेटें एकदम आपको हारा हुआ मैच भी आप जीतने के चांसेस आपके बढ़ जाते हैं तो आई थिंक मुझे भी लगता है मैं तो एज ए वेस्ट इंडीज़ पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बात कर सकता हूँ कि पूरे 5 बॉलरों के साथ और जेन्युइन फास्ट बॉलरों के साथ जाना चाहिए ताकि आप विकेटें मिलें और विकेटें मिलेंगी तो आप 280-300 के ऊपर दूसरी टीमों को पकड़ सकते हैं और एज यू सेड कि पाकिस्तान के पास भी ऑप्शन और वेस्ट इंडीज़ के पास भी ऑप्शन एक ही है अटैकिंग क्रिकेट पॉजिटिव क्रिकेट जो लोग खेलेंगे ना वो उनके चांसेस बहुत ज़्यादा होंगे बड़ा मुश्किल होता है जब इंग्लैंड के साथ था काम कर रहा था तो पाकिस्तान के साथ मैच होता था बड़ा मुश्किल होता था ऑब्वियसली स्पेशली जब इंग्लैंड जीत रहा होता था तो एक अजीब सी फीलिंग भी आती थी मगर मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि दिल तो पाकिस्तानी है मगर आपकी जो प्रोफेशनलिज्म है वो जिस टीम ने आपको हायर किया होता है उसके साथ आई शुड बी सिंसियर आई शुड बी लॉयल एंड वो मैं पूरी कोशिश करता हूँ बट पहला मैच ही पाकिस्तान और वेस्ट इंडीज़ का है तो पहली बात तो है ड्यूरिंग मीटिंग्स जब होती हैं जब पाकिस्तान के बारे में कोई मीटिंग्स हमारी टेक्निकल और टैक्टिकल मीटिंग्स होती हैं तो उसमें मेरी कोशिश होती है कि कम ही बोलूँ
Mushtaq Ahmed, there'll be conflicting emotions for him as well in the West Indies camp now, playing Pakistan in the opening game of the World Cup. I like that he said that he thinks as the West Indies point of view, you need to play 5 outright bowlers. That's not what's happened today. I'll come to Darren to that in just a bit. But let's quickly have a chat on Pakistan's batsmen because that's the conversation we're going to have given Pakistan a batting first. They've relied heavily on Babar Azam and the top 3 has been big for them. But Babar Azam, last 5 games, striking at 100. The average is very good. And it's like Karthik said yesterday, it's been such a sad time that we have to now look at these strike rates and think, are they good enough? Darren, let me go to you because you brought up the point of power play and Pakistan seems to have a different sort of opinion on it.
Yeah, you can't play not to your strengths as a team. The West Indies, they play to their strengths. They're strong power hitters and that's what works for them. Pakistan, on the other hand, they're more timers of the ball, risky players. They've got to try and use that to their advantage. Baba Azam is a prime example. He anchors the innings. Safraz Ahmad, he's also done well against the West Indies. So I think they need everyone in that Pakistan batting lineup to contribute if they are to be competitive.
What's the score they're looking for as we wrap things up for our viewers in the Caribbean? The score Pakistan would want?
I just hope that it plays out to be the belter it is supposed to be. possibly 350, 360 is what they would have. That's what it has become, par for the course nowadays.
Yeah, you need it. Let's find out. We'll get viewers in the Caribbean back on half-time. Now it's time to move to Trent Bridge, where the West Indies and Pakistan are all set for their first game of the World Cup. Jason Holder's won the toss. Let's hope that they get it right. And viewers on ESPN Cricket, stay with us. Let's try and build on that conversation that we already touched upon. The power play game that Pakistan seem to lack or even choose not to have. Now, Darren makes the good point that you have to play to your strengths. What are Pakistan's strengths? They've got a formidable top three. Is it about more support, almost a similar conversation that we have of India at times, Karthik?
Yeah, it's a catch-22 for the top three, isn't it? If you've got blazing openers and if you know that your middle order is slightly vulnerable or not able to capitalize on the starts you provide, then you start having a different approach to it. If you look at it, Fakhar Zaman is generally an attacker by instinct, but then sometimes you need to play to your strengths as well. You would rather go down fighting that way or dying that way rather than trying to play an opposite game. Yeah. And that's where I feel Pakistan have been slightly vulnerable, because if you've got an attacking instinct, play that way. They've got lots of hundreds, as I mentioned before, but it's come at a very slow rate, and that's hurt Pakistan and their chances. And also to go with the fact that your experienced players in the middle, apart from Sarfaraz, have not been getting runs doesn't help.
Looking at numbers of Fakhar and Imam, and they've been brilliant, but again, the strike rate is a slight concern. Even the sort of hundreds that Imam ul Haq scored, they give you hundreds, which you want from the top order. But can you start batting differently, Darren, when you know that there is a lack of form lower down the order? Can it start affecting a top order batsman as well?
It definitely can. That pressure gets to you sometimes. Sometimes you jump out of that comfort zone or that zone of you performing at your best. And that is what I said from the start of this World Cup. It's about teams handling pressure, whether it's internal pressure, as we've seen with the middle order lacking form in this Pakistan batting lineup. That top order, they need to continue doing what they're doing. They've been consistent. Yeah. Babar Azam had a really good series against England. He needs to continue. He's been there, and that team has been there for a while. They've adapted to the conditions, and they should take that as an advantage going into this World Cup.
Fakhar Zaman's numbers in England, very good, and he has fond memories of playing high-profile cricket in England, 100 in the final of the Champions Trophy. So they've got experience, they've got ability. But let's go beyond cricketing skills, Darren, and maybe touch upon a point that we were discussing of the importance of leadership between these two teams. Pakistan hoping for someone to lift them and add some normalcy to the chaos. And the West Indies, on the other hand, Jason Holder, is he now finally coming to terms with captaincy? Is he commanding the dressing room? Give me your thoughts on comparing both styles of leadership and both leaders.
Well, first of all, in terms of what they've achieved, Sarfaraz superior to Jason in terms of what he's done, in terms of win percentage. Over 50%, Jason Holder touching on 30%. Both situations very different. Sarfaraz, he's enjoyed success in T20 cricket, but not enjoying that type of success in the longer format of the game. So there is a challenge and a void for him. His own personal form dipped at one point in time, and it was added pressure on him. From a West Indies point of view, Jason Holder, as much as you see his record being the lowest in terms of captains in this World Cup, he's had a revolving team, so to speak. You know, a lot of young players, changing landscape. So that's a counter argument for what he's achieved as a player. But I think his maturity in terms of his own individual performance is something to give him credit for. He has pushed himself to being the #1 all-rounder in the test format, and that has rubbed off into the other formats of the game. So I think the experience of a Chris Gayle, the experience of an Andre Russell, they must contribute towards the decision-making on the field, because it's unlike T20 cricket. 50-over cricket allows you some time to catch up if you've made a wrong decision as a captain. So that contributing factor from a Gayle, from an Andre Russell, crucial for this West Indies team being successful.
Also helps that things off the field are slightly better now, in better shape?
Yes, I think the mere fact that you're having the senior players, the most marketable players in West Indian cricket coming back into the fold, that would take a lot more pressure off the younger players. There's someone that you can look up to, so a Shea Hope, a Shimron Hetmyer could go to a Chris Gayle. In that West Indies lineup, only two players have played over 100 ODI matches. That's Darren Bravo and Chris Gayle. So lacking experience, you would say, in this format, but not lacking potential and talent. And that meshing of experience with youthfulness is what you want happening to create a winning sort of result.
On the other side, Pakistan, I think the Pakistan captain is supposed to be the man with the hardest job in the country. We joked about how Imran Khan now has the second hardest job in the country, that's being Prime Minister. It's probably harder when he's captain. Sarfaraz, in spite of the success he's enjoyed in the Champions Trophy, in T20 cricket, there still seems to be chaos all around. How important is the role of the captain of Pakistan come a World Cup, Karthik, and what can he do to this team?
Yeah, it's a tough place. It's tough. It's a tough place. Only when somebody's been to that country and understood the way things run and the way things go, it's just unbelievable how sometimes things function. You hear some horror stories from players and former players. And going into this World Cup as well, you look at the way they've been there for a while. You would say that they've got to settle, like Darren was mentioning. Jason Holder has had so many different coaches, so many different players around him. So sometimes it's difficult to get a cohesive unit going. On the other hand, Mickey Arthur has been there for a while. Sarfaraz has been a captain for a while. But still, they don't seem to put together those results, especially in one-day cricket. So from that point of view, that's why I said at the start of this program that going into this World Cup, it's such a punch in your face that you've lost the last 10 games. You're trying your level best. And you can see him. Sometimes you can see body language is a big thing from a captain, and sometimes facial expressions show a lot as to what's going through your head. Sometimes you're exasperated with the results, you're exasperated with what the bowler's not delivering, the batsman not delivering, and that's quite evident in him behind the stumps, and also sometimes what he says in the press conferences.
Well, we can only hope to speculate and assume, but why not ask someone who's actually done the drill and lived the job and sat on that throne with the sword hanging on his head. We're talking about the importance of being Pakistan captain and the pressures that come with it, Misbah, and how Pakistan have always been looking at their captain to lift them when there is chaos all around. The form doesn't support them. You've been rightly critical of so many aspects of their game, and dare I say that the West Indies start favourites. But tell me the role of Sarfaraz Ahmed and how important it is for him to lift this team. If he gets a win today, all of a sudden the mood could change for Pakistan.
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, once you are on a losing streak, you need one good game to just turn everything towards something positive. And Pakistan needs that. And for that, I think captain needs to be very, very strong. I mean, first thing first, Pakistan needs to put runs on the board and then see they got the resources. I think wisely picked team. Okay, we can just take off Asif Ali is not playing, but I think the problem was their bowling, and they got all possible options against West Indies. Wahab is back in the team. They got off spinner because there are a lot of left-handers in the West Indies lineup, and Ahmad is also there, troubled a lot of West Indies batsmen, especially the right-handers. So I think Pakistan needs to be really clinical first if they want to just go and win this game. That's important for them to put runs on the board. The way they batted against England, that's the first job at their hand, and they have to score like that. Anything over 300, close to 350, you need a good start. And obviously, first four are very important that aspect. And then it comes to defending the target. And one thing that was positive in the last series that we were so close to the number one team in the world, England, in their own conditions, and we made mistakes. We dropped simple catches. Our bowling plans, we could not execute them properly, but still there wasn't big difference between the two teams. So that's a big positive for Pakistan, and Sarfaraz should just think of that and emphasize throughout the game, tell the players that we need to improve 15 to 20% while we are fielding, while we are bowling, and that can give us the result. So I think Pakistan can just turn it around. It's only the matter of belief, and I think they got nothing to lose now. You lost 10 games, okay, a lot of pressure on you, but just go there, play the game, and I think that's the only way you can just get everything back. That you just go there, have a very good game, express yourself, try to win this, and one good game, one good win can just give you all the confidence back.
Absolutely. That's what we're hoping on from a Pakistan perspective. Misbah, thank you. It was worth the wait. You took your time to join us, but we managed to get just about everything we needed out of you. Let's hope we can get your thoughts more in detail on our halftime show after Pakistan have put some runs on the board. Former Pakistan captain Misbah ul Haq, who we will have extensively through Pakistan's campaign at this World Cup. Right. Let's play a little game of our own. Remember, Cricket Picks is on ESPN Cricket. All you need to do is go onto the site and play this wonderful predictor game. Just predict who's going to win today. What does our team of analysis say? And I see that Messrs. Agarkar, Karthik, Nafis, Mokal and Swan have gone with the West Indies. And Brad Hodge and Daniel Vittori have actually gone out of the box and gone for Pakistan. And Darren Ganga is now going to reveal it in person. Darren?
It's a no-brainer.
He's supporting India.
Obviously.
No one's going to go against the West Indies if it's Darren Ganga that's picking. Right, if you can play that game too, just go on to ESPN Cricket, play with your family and friends, and we'll definitely have more for you on Cricket Picks as this tournament goes on. Quick numbers on Trent Bridge too, and we've spoken of how this is a ground that big runs are scored for fun. 364 the average first innings score. Teams batting first have won 2 out of 5 times. These are the last 5 completed ODIs. There's been a tie in that as well. Pacers average 52, spinners average 41. Not with the bat, with the ball. Right. Last word, the score that Pakistan need to stay safe.
I say over 300, maybe 320 is a good score. Putting some pressure on this West Indies batting at the halfway stage. They've got good variety in their bowling.
Yeah.
When you look at the West Indies in the past, yes, their bowling has let them down. So I expect that there will be a little bit of leeway for Pakistan and their batting to capitalize on run scoring. So I would still give them a chance of getting 300, 320 if they bat well.
Yep.
I said it earlier when you asked me. 350 is where they would be thinking. Again, it depends on early wickets or depending on how the wicket plays out. We heard Michael Holding saying that it's a belter.
All right, thank you very much. Murli Karthik, Darren Ganga. We will get back with your thoughts at half time. Let's see how many Pakistan have got. Let's hope for a good game like we did yesterday in England and South Africa. Maybe a closer one, which Trent Bridge in recent